All right, beautiful, beautiful. All right, exit out that. All right, and Tashawn, you say you can see that, right? All right, so let's see where we at. Three. We're gonna go ahead and get started, and maybe like another minute for whoever else decides to join. And I think you're really gonna like this week. This week is really gonna be a week that's going to really show you what being productive is about. So I'm excited. This is one of my favorite weeks because this is where we get to the meat and the bones of what productivity is. That's unbreakable. So I'm excited. So let's just wait about another 30 seconds more, see who else is gonna get on or join, and then we just gonna get started. All right, maybe about another 15 seconds. Nope, no, you're fine. You're fine. No, no, you're good. As long as it's on mute, you're good. All right, all right. Let's get this show on the road. All right. So, I appreciate everybody who is joining us live right now. This is week four. This is the week four journey, and we've covered a lot of ground so far. We covered a lot of ground so far, from energy to how to master your mindset, um, to really just now we're getting to the point where, all right, what are the things that I really need to be doing on a weekly basis, monthly basis? What are the true tools that I really need in order to grow? So, so this is gonna be a fun week. All right, so I'm gonna get started, and and by the way, this is just for my live people. Now I'm actually getting ready to start. Okay. Hello, we are back. Week four, grinding it out, making things happen. I'm excited because this week is one of my favorite weeks. And this is the week where we talk about unbreakable personal productivity. This is really going to be the week where we're going to start getting down to what are the nitty gritty things that we need to be doing in order to make forward progress in our life, right? This is where we're really going to start putting where the rubber meets the road, what so many people say, right? This is how following the what I'm going to talk to you about in this module in this week is going to be some of the most profound, and it's going to be some of the most mind-boggling, mind-breaking. Is you're going to get a breakthrough from going through this module, and what I'm telling you and showing you in here is the world's best information on productivity. This is what all the top athletes, actors, people who are really people that you envy, people that you love. No matter what, if they're successful and they're at the top of their field, they're doing this, and there's a reason why there's underlying things that everybody who's successful are doing and how they getting things done. And I'm gonna talk about that here because this, like I said, I've spent thousands and thousands of dollars, over 10,000+ dollars on training, on learning, on materials, on seminars, on online courses. I did everything that I could within this past 10 years to learn about how to be successful, how to be more productive, and I boil you all of that down into what are the specific things you need to be paying attention to, and focused on when it comes to personal productivity. And that is exactly what we're going to jump into. All right. So make sure you get your notes out, take a front row seat, because this, we're going to go through it quick, but this is where you're really going to get a lot of the value out of this course in your life, because we really going to start getting to a place where when we look down into our future and we really look at the things that we want to do and what we want to get, is going to come down, a lot of it's going to come down to this personal productivity. So this is nothing like you've ever seen before, right? So I'm excited. I hope you are excited too. All right. So in this week we'll learn proven ways to help you achieve any project. We're going to talk about setting intentions for your day. How do you create and set daily goals? How do you use the impact planner to plan your day, right? So impact planner is a planner that I had, that I created, and it's sort of a composite of different things that I've been learning from the world's best people in productivity. And I sort of put my own little spin and twist on it based off the things that I've been learning. Also, we're going to talk about the pockets effect. How do you utilize your spare time? And then also we're going to talk about the pyramid of persuasion, because anytime you're trying to get more things done, you have any plans, goals, dreams, ambitions that you want to accomplish, you can't do it by yourself. Anybody who's out there that's making things happen, they're not doing it by themselves. As much as people want to say, they're the lone wolf, is me, I grinded, I did this, I made it to the top by myself. Nobody makes it to the top by themselves. So how do you persuade people in order to help them support your goals and your dreams and your ambitions? So that is what we are going to talk about in this session. All right. So we're going to jump into the first week, and it's going to be proven ways to achieve any project. All right. You don't have any questions? Anyone have any questions? Look like George might have joined. Anybody have any questions? George, Tisana, and whoever else is on. That was pretty much just the interview, the overview phase. So I'm sure nobody probably has too many questions about that. Okay. All right. So we're gonna jump into the first video. Well, the next section. All right, so we're back. Proven ways to achieve any project. What do we need to do when it comes to accomplishing what we want to accomplish for a project? How do you start? How do you even start off thinking about, all right, what's the first thing I got to do to move towards make progress towards this new project, this new dream that I want to get to, right? I want to change my life, because years and years and years since the beginning of time, there's always been people who wanted to achieve things, but they never really got around to it. Think about this. I'm sure this is not either the first course or the first book or the first thing that you looked up online about, about making progress in your life. The first thing about, getting ahead. First thing about times, using your time efficiently, time management, overcoming doubts, overcoming fears, how to get more energy. I'm sure this is not the first program, how to change your habits and routines, right? Which is the basis and core of what this course is about. So, although that this is not the first time you've been through or did anything of this nature, you have to understand that when you starting on a new journey, a new endeavor, what is going to be different than the other books and things that you've done, that you've written on, that you took notes on, that you put in your Evernote, that you put online, that you bookmarked, right? What's gonna make this difference? And what's gonna be the difference is you knowing what are the most effective ways to get through the project. And not only you knowing it, not only you writing it down, not only you studying it and see how you can implement this in your life, but also how are you going to be able to actually do it, put it in your schedule, and make that a habit into your life. So that's what we're really looking at. And to support me on that, I got my man Michael Jordan here. And Jordan says some people want it to happen, some people wish it could happen, but others make it happen. So at the end of the day, we all have similar dreams and goals. We all have goals for our family. We all have goals for our health. We all have goals to, you might want to start a business and you want to be successful in that business, or you might want to make a contribution, or you already might have your business and you've already started, right? But although we all similarly have the same things that we want to accomplish, some people just tend to make it happen. So but how do they do that? Well, first thing that they do is they look at the specific expected results, right? A little bit of a tongue twister, but what does that mean? They know what results that they expect. They know what results they want. But it's not just about knowing the results that you want. It's about specifically having an idea of this is what I want to get. Although you may not hit it. We're not even talking about if you actually hit it. We're talking about right now, you at least having an idea in your mind of what you want to do. Like for me, when I first went to college, all I knew is that I like computers and that I wanted to go to college. To be honest, it didn't even cross my mind even thinking about, okay, what do I want to do once I graduate? What profession I want to get into? What career that I want to get into? I had no idea. All I knew is that I like computers. I could have ended up, a computer technician on the Geek Squad inside of Best Buy, right? Or I could end up working at Apple or Google on the voice recognition, right? So like I could be anywhere, cybersecurity, right? So it's about knowing specifically what you want to accomplish. So for me, when I started, I was focused on smoking, drinking, girls, partying, everything that you could think of, right? But I didn't have a true plan of what I wanted to do until school started going on, and until I started joining organizations, and then until I started putting success in my mind and started thinking like, oh, okay, there's actually ways that you can get the result that you want if I follow and listen to these millionaires and read these books and do these type of things. So then at that point in time is when I really started expecting specific results for myself. Like, many of you know that I wrote a book called The Fastest Way to Win in College. And although I didn't really know exactly what the best people were doing that were publishing books, I knew that there were certain things that I had to achieve. So that takes me into the next point where you got to know what your 5 to 7 major milestones are. So that means once you have a goal that you know that you want to accomplish, right? It's specific. You don't want to just say, I have a business. You don't want to just say, oh, well, I want to make money in this business. Well, what does that mean? Well, you can make hit. Well, here's 50 cents. You just made money in your business, right? You gotta be specific. How much do you want to make on a weekly, on a monthly basis, on a yearly basis? And then you got to be able to break that down into customers and different things of that nature. But right now, all I'm saying is that it's important for you to understand what the 5 to 7 major things you need to accomplish in order to achieve that specific result. So for me, I didn't really know I was doing this at the time, but when I came out with my book, The Fastest Way to Win in College, for college students, helping them be successful, get through, there's 3 fundamental principles that you need to do in order to succeed throughout college, graduate, get into the career that you want to get into, and be able to enjoy the entire process, right? So what are the 5 to 7 major things I did when I created the book? One is finish the book, right? If I want to create a successful book that's popular amongst the college community and in colleges, then first thing I have to do is make sure that I create the book. It sounds simple, but you have to write the book. So that's a milestone that I need to accomplish. Okay, one, write book. And so I had to focus on making sure that I wrote the book. Well, what's another thing? If you want to come out with a book, it depends on if you want to do publish, or or you want to do traditional publishing, or you want to do self-publishing. If you wanted to go the traditional publishing route, you would, maybe another milestone is you got to get an agent, right? Maybe another milestone is you have to find, some of the publishing companies that help you promote your book, that'll pay you the advances, right? But for me, I just wanted to get the book out. And I was excited for that. So I didn't go that route. I went the self-publishing route. But another major milestone was for me was, okay, well, the editing process, right? So once you finish writing a book, you're not done. It's not ready to hit the shelves. You still got to edit it. It was good. You still got to get feedback from people. So it is that, you might want to get, a few different people to look at it. So pictures, whatever you want to add, but that's another milestone. So create book, edit, and then for me it was promotion. So I had to promote the book. So you might have seen, if you've been following me on social media for a while, or if you just sort of knew what I was doing, then you know that I did I did some book signings. So that I was going out, me doing book signings. I had people on Instagram, and social media, shouting out the book, blasting the book, just doing promotional things. I had people online who were able to get additional things and bonuses and stuff for purchasing the book. But that was just all part of the all part of the milestone method. So this is not about me telling you how I did it, but, how to release a book, but it's more just letting you know, right, what are the things that I specifically need to accomplish in order to get that specific result. And then after that, one of the other things that I've noticed that the super achiever people do, they also have a proven system that they'll follow. So you don't want to just start reinventing things from the just because it's nice, right? You don't want to say, okay, well, I want to be successful, and I want to be a successful copywriter, or I want to be a successful person that's selling I don't online merchandise. So whatever the case is, you want to say, all right, who already is successful at doing this, who already proved that they know how to sell online merchandise, online products, shirts, t-shirts, who already is a successful speaker, or whatever the case is. So you got to find what that proven system is, and then learn from them, follow them, see what they're doing, and go to a few different people and get some perspectives, right? So that's what you want to do, similar to this. I'm on the same path as as many of you watching, right? As yourself here, and it is, and it's similar for me. I went out and I've done all the research already. I've joined all the programs. I've read all the books on this topic. I looked at all the videos on this. I've joined all the podcasts on this. I've interviewed I interviewed millionaires on this. So I have no doubt in my mind that everything that you are learning throughout this entire course is the world's best strategies, right? But I had to make sure that I got that system. I had to make sure that it was proven, right? So that's what you have to do for whatever your topic is. Make sure that you know what is that proven system that you can follow in order to be successful at that project. And then after that, once you know the things to do, it's just about scheduling it. It's about scheduling, putting it in your calendar. So hopefully you have Google Calendar, or you have any kind of other calendar system that you're using. And let me back up too. As far as the 5 to 7 milestones that you want to do, don't get those milestones confused with daily to dos. Milestones, they don't necessarily have to be daily to dos. If one of my milestones is writing a book, I'm not going to write a book in a day, right? I can't set an hour aside in a week and say, all right, well, one of my milestones is crossed off. So every one of these milestones might have, like, it could be 10, 5, 10, 15, 20 different sub activities that you will have to do in order to complete that one milestone, right? So be mindful of that. So now when you're looking at scheduling, you want to look at, okay, what can I do throughout the week in order to move towards these major milestones? Because at the end of the day, I know if I complete these 5 milestones that I need for this project, then I know this is a successful project, right? So that's what you have to do. Make sure that you schedule it, and it has to be in schedule, because if it's not, then some days you're going to do it, some days you're not going to do it, some days you're going to forget about it, and then you can go 6 months, a year, and you've never made it to the destination that we all trying to make it to, right? So it's important that you continuously put this on your schedule in order to be successful and achieve that goal. All right, and then next you want to know, who's going to support you. What support are you going to need for it? You might need some support from, either team members, depending on what it is. You might need some support from, friends. You might need some online support and maybe technical support. But like we said, it's not just going to be you who's going to be doing this. You're going to need some support from others. So going back to my book example, when I started creating a book, I knew I was going to need some support from somebody who knows how to edit. I need a professional, but then I'm also going to need some support, from some close friends, because I need them to know, okay, does this book sound like me, or am I trying to sound like somebody else? What do you feel like it? I also need some support from the people who are going to be reading a book, right? So is college students. So I needed some support from them in order to look at the book and say, all right, I understand what you're saying. I get this example. I like this. Can you talk more about this? So what support are you going to need in order to help you achieve your project or your goal faster? And then you want to just evaluate yourself periodically. We've all heard the saying, what you're not measuring, you're not managing. So you got to be measuring if you're making progress or not. So some people do it at the end of the day. If there's certain things you want to hit throughout the day. Some people journal about it. Okay, well, I was able to, accomplish these things. Well, I didn't complete my goals today because of this, because my child got sick, because I got hurt, or, because this major thing happened. Okay, but now you're evaluating yourself, or some people do it weekly. I tend to do it weekly. I'm thinking about going back to doing it, just sort of nightly. But at a minimum, you want to do it on a weekly basis. So every Sunday, you want to make sure you did it. And I did it today, early this morning, as far as, okay, well, did I accomplish the things that I wanted to accomplish throughout the week, as far as my major priorities and milestones, see what happened, see what got in your way, and then try to forecast it for this next week that's coming up, and then say, all right, well, how can I do better on my milestones and projects this week, on the things that I say I want to accomplish this week, so I can move forward. Because as long as you're doing that, you know that you're moving forward. If you're evaluating yourself, you know for a fact whether you're moving forward every week or not. And that's why that part is so important. All right. So these are the proven ways that I found to achieve any project. So as long as you have your mind wrapped around this, and you know how to think about achieving a project or a goal or a dream that you want, whether short term or whether it's long term, this is the foundational parts of it, and you'll follow these, and then you'll be able to find yourself making progress on your goals. All right, so in the next video, we're going to talk about how do you set intentions for your day in order to make faster progress. All right, so that's the first video, first one down. All right, so hopefully you like that session. If or anyone has any questions, feel free to ask your questions on it. You can unmute your phone if you have any questions, and ask it, or you can just put it in the chat. Either way, and we can talk about it. Okay. All right. So if there's no questions, I'm going to move on into the next video. Okay. All right. So we're back. This video was dealing with setting intentions for your day. How do you set intentions for your day? Now, actually, what I decided to do last minute that I think will be even more valuable, I said, you know what? Well, instead of just setting it for your day and teaching you how to do that, I'm going to show you how to do it for your year, your month, your week, for your year, your month, your day, and then maybe the moment-to-moment decisions as well. So that'll really help you out on what do you need to, or how do you make forward progress on that. All right. So when you're looking at setting intentions for your year, starting off, that's what we're looking at. I want you to plan and sort of visualize what you want to accomplish this year. And then you're going to break that down into each month, right? And we know a lot of people do this. When is the perfect time that people do this? On New Year's, right? People love on New Year's to say, I'm gonna lose weight 20 pounds this year. I'm gonna have a beach body, rock hard abs. I'm gonna, do great in my business, make $100,000 this year. I'm gonna make sure everything, right? I'm gonna have the best relationship this year. I'm gonna do better this year. I'm not cheating no more. I'm not doing none of that stuff, right? So it's funny how the beginning of the year people feel like Superman. But then as the days go on, the weeks goes on, they just start slipping. They start drifting, and it's and they just sort of forget about it, because it's what I'm talking about in this program. They're not being purposeful about what they're doing. They have to, they're not setting up habits and routines in their life that's preventing them from making forward progress. And one of the best things that I heard that was sort of like an eye opener for me, and this was from a very wise man, Darren Hardy. He trains on a lot of success, and he's interviewed this now. This was the publisher Success Magazine, and he interviews when he was a publisher, everybody that you could think of that was successful. And one of the things that he really that I really took away from him was the fact that successful people, they don't rely on discipline, because when you're talking about discipline, you're talking about willpower. When you're talking about willpower, you're talking about a very limited resource, because we don't have unlimited willpower. We have a certain amount of willpower every day, and every time you have to use your willpower, then it's making it harder for you to stick to your habits, routines, and it's making it harder for you to resist temptation. And one of the great examples he gave was, if you got you got a bowl of cookies or a bowl of M&Ms, sitting on your counter, and you're not supposed to eat it, or you don't want to eat it, but for some reason you got it out. Maybe you're getting ready to have an event, or maybe it's at work, or whatever the case is. So you got this candy out. Well, every time you got to resist walking by the candy and not doing it and not grabbing any, you're lowering your willpower. And now, once your willpower is low, then that's when your monkey brain is going to take over, and you're going to find yourself. It's going to be easier for you to be distracted. The lower willpower you have, the less the less focus you have. I want you to remember that, and if you're taking notes, write that down. All right, less willpower equals less focus and concentration. So your goal is, you want to be able to protect your willpower. You gotta look at it as a battery. You gotta look at it as like a battery on your phone or a battery on your laptop, right? If you have a battery on your phone or your laptop and you're using it, or let's say if you're using your laptop for 5 hours a day, right? 5 hours straight. Well, that 5 hours that you're using your phone or your laptop, you could be using that 5 hours for work, or you could be using that 5 hours to be on Facebook and watch YouTube videos. But either way, it's draining your battery. So why not for the same amount of time that you have in a day, why not use that use your willpower on positive things? But bringing it back to a year, you got to make sure that what you want to accomplish for that year, and then that's what's going to help you continuously move forward. Okay. So I spent a little bit of time on that one, but I think it's important that you know what you want to accomplish for the year, and then you're going to start breaking it down to each month. Okay. So for the month, you want to look at, okay, well, what do I want this month to look like? What do I want to do? So for me, give you an example. So this year I said, okay, I really want to make sure that I focus on, productivity, creating courses. Well, creating a course on productivity. I want to make sure that, I'm providing people with free resources that they can use in order to help them be more productive, and, and achieve more in their life, right? So that was my year goal. But then on a month-to-month basis, you have to say, okay, well, what do I want to accomplish each month? So so one month might be it might be creating a course. Another month might be, maybe I focus on speaking, or focus on something else that's still in the same topic. So if you're an entrepreneur, you get what I'm talking about, right? You gotta know what's gonna make you successful in your field, and then if you could focus on certain things throughout that month, then do that. Now, everything is not always gonna last a month. If I'm writing a book, if I decide to write a book on productivity, I know that's not gonna last a month, right? That might last me 2, 3, 4 months. Right, so it's okay for it to bleed into other months, but the goal is, you want to have something achieved on a month-to-month basis. So I might say, all right, well, in the month of June, I want to make sure that I complete at least 4 chapters. All right, 4 weeks. All right, so if I at least could do a chapter a week, I'll be fine. So what do your monthly goals look like? And you could break that down into week by week if you want, but at least have an aim or goal that you want by the end of this month. Okay, so then now we're looking down to the days. What am I going to do on a day-to-day basis, and how do I set intentions for my day? And be mindful. Setting intentions are really, you can write it down, but it's really just you forecasting what you want to do. Because we haven't even got down to, all right, well, what's the actual tool that you're going to use in order to do that? Because that's the conversation that we're going to have when we talk about the impact planner, right? And setting daily goals. But right now it's just, okay, what do I want to accomplish? So it's really you thinking about that piece of it. And then once you get down to the days, I want you to be more intentional. Well, actually, let me finish talking about the days. As far as being intentional for your day, you got to know, what do you want to accomplish for this day? What is today going to look like? And what most people forget or don't pay attention to is, they might say, all right, well, this is what I want to accomplish this day. This is what I want to do this day. But they never think about, how do I want to feel this day? What type of person that I want to be this day? Because this is a dirty little secret about life. To be honest, it's not really about what you accomplish. Although we talk about, goals and, dreams and ambitions, and these are the things that you want to do. And at the end of the day, you want these things. You want to have a great lifestyle. You want to make sure that your kids turn out great. You want to make sure that you have a great body. So you got to have goals. But really, when it comes down to it, at the end of the day, or at the end of your life, and many end of life studies is endless out there. Most people at the end of their life is really about who they become, and if they spent time, if they really mattered in the world, and the people that surround them that they love. So it's about really, who are you becoming in this process. That's why you being called to take this course right now is so important, because you have been called in order to make progress. You have been called to join this totally new journey that's gonna take you into the future, where you can be that ideal self that you want to be. You can be that self where you can travel around the world, that you and go places that you want to go without having to think about money, right? Is you being able to have that health and look good how you want to look, have that slender, sleek body, right? Have the silky, soft skin, right? Or have those muscles, have those abs. It's doing what you need to do every day, setting up those habits and routines, so we can be that ideal self that we want to be in the future. And in order to do that, we've all tried to do that at one point in time, but we can't keep trying to do that in the same sort of vehicle that we're in. The same sort of thoughts that we're in, doing the same type of habits that we've been doing. Like I said earlier, we've tried doing these things before. It's not the first time we've learned about success and trying to be productive and trying to make things happen, right? But you have to understand that doing everything that you've been doing up until this point has not been working. It hasn't. So what are you going to do that's differently? Even if you have been learning and podcasting and reading and taking a course, whatever the case is, what you have been doing up until this point has not been working, right? So that means that it's time to start implementing habits and doing things that you have not done before. When I really started taking success seriously, because there was a point in time, a lot of times, where I would just learn about things and I would say, oh, that's a good idea, okay, that's cool, I understand it. But when things really started changing in my life, where I started meeting celebrities, where I started, started getting more recognition for my book, when I started, just having people, see me and greet me and want me to talk at their seminars and talk at their schools. And when I really started seeing things happen and change for me, started getting better jobs in Fortune 500 companies, making six figures. Like when things really started changing for me, was when I stopped listening passively to people, and it's particularly successful information, successful people. But it was when I actually started implementing these things, when I started to journal, when I started to reflect and say, okay, how can I use this in my life? Once I started doing that, and then actually going out and doing it and trying to make it happen, and I wasn't always successful. I failed many times, but it wasn't until I started doing that things really started changing for me. So you have to do the same thing. If you want to, that ideal self that we all moving towards, that we want to be, that we want to have the great relationships and happiness and health and all that stuff, it's important for us to make sure that that we're sticking to these habits and routines and doing something that's different, completely different than what we've done up until this point. And then also just think about the moment to moment decisions. A lot of decisions just come down to the moment. Sometimes we set commitments, but it comes down to the moment, and we don't have any intentions for how we're gonna actually get past this moment, because we set intentions before, right? And we feeling good, we feeling pumped up. But once it gets down to now, once it gets to a place where, all right, I'm actually in the moment and I'm actually about to do this, we always doubt ourselves, right? We always say we're gonna work out this week. We're gonna work out Monday through Friday. I'm working out from 5 to 6 p.m. every single day. I'm gonna do it no matter what. But then it gets about 4:55, and you're like, I'm hungry. Who loves me on Facebook and Instagram, Snapchat, and then once somebody calls you on the phone, right? Now it's like 4:58. It's like, and you don't feel like doing it, and then and a majority of people don't do it. And the difference between successful people and unsuccessful people, what I've noticed is that even when they don't feel like doing it, successful people do it anyway. Even if they do it and they bomb, even if they do it and they don't do well, they don't do as good as they thought, they still do it. And even if they don't do as well as they thought, they learn from it. And then the next time they have to face with it again, they'll do better next time. So that's really key, when setting intentions for the moment, knowing that you're not always going to feel in the same state of mind and the same feelings, in the moment when you're about to do something as when you first set that goal for yourself. Okay, so make sure moment to moment, you have some things that you can do that's gonna make sure that you actually do, what you want to do. Like, for example, I came from the dentist a few weeks ago, and one of the things that she told me, she said, you have to really be consistent with flossing and doing that type of thing, right? So I brush my teeth multiple times a day, but I didn't have a consistent schedule to be flossing all the time. So she said, you know what, you really got to make sure that you stay consistent with flossing and everything. And so she set the intention. I said, all right, I should do that. So at that point in time, I set the intention like, all right, well, I'm gonna do that. I mean, there's no difference. I'm brushing my teeth anyway. I'm already in the bathroom. So, I mean, there's no difference, just to sit there and floss. But then, it'd be times where it'd be too late, or it might be times where I'm getting ready to rush out the house, and, I'm just brushing my teeth real quick. And then those would be the moments that's like, I don't feel like doing this right now. It's not going to kill me to miss it this time. So those are the moment to moment decisions that, that we got to stick to our commitments. So, so one of the things I do, particularly, since sometimes I just felt like it's just taking time. I'll say, well, to make this moment more enjoyable, I might put on like a video or a podcast or just listen to something, because since I like to learn and I like to listen and I like to watch things, I'm like, hey, it'll make this moment more enjoyable. So now sometimes, when I have to floss my teeth, I just put on something to listen to. But it's about doing those things in a moment that's going to make you follow through on your commitment, instead of in a moment when you're going to change your mind, and you're not going to feel like it, and stopping and not doing it. Because over time, that's going to add up, and you could have been in the place that you wanted to be, your dreams, your goals, ambitions, accomplishing that project, long before. But it's those little decisions that we make multiple times throughout the day that holds us back. All right, so that's what we have for setting intentions for your day. In the next video, we're going to talk about how to create and set daily goals, and also how you use my impact planner in order to actually prepare your day in a way that you complete everything that you want. That's very important to you. All right, and that is video number 2. All right, in the books. So hopefully that was very informative. Hopefully, you found a few things that was that was very useful. These are things, man, that I've just been learning from the world's best, man. And it's like, I understand why sometimes in my life I got better results at some points in my life, and other times that I didn't. The times where I got the best results in my life were the times that I was doing some of these things. And the times where I didn't have the best results were the times that I didn't. There was a point in time where I was muscular. I had a little bit more muscles than I am. I probably look skinny now, but I had little muscles back then. And but I noticed that I had a routine. I noticed that I set intentions to eat healthy, and I followed through on my commitments to eat healthy. And just things of that nature. So I could tell you for a fact that this is definitely true. So if there's any questions, ask them now. If not, we're just gonna get ahead and we're gonna keep rolling and go into the next session. All right. All right. So we're gonna get ahead and we're gonna keep rolling. All right. Get your pen, paper, get it out, and we're gonna keep rolling. All right. How to create and set daily goals. Plus, we're going to talk about the impact planner, my daily impact planner, and this is going to be what you're going to use. This is so critical because you're going to use this on a daily basis in order to plan your day. I don't ever want there to be a day to go by without you using these strategies, and I'm getting ready to tell you today, and without using and working through this impact planner. And I'm gonna tell you exactly why it's so important once we get to the next, once we actually get to it. Okay. All right. So this is how to create and set daily goals. All right. So what do we need to do in order to do that? All right. Now this is so every activity should bring you closer to your bigger goal. All right. So you always got to have that bigger goal, as you know. But when it comes to a strategy is making sure that you are doing specific actions that's going to bring you to a desired result. So that means that everything that you do should be a strategy on the way to where you want to get to. So that means that if we're looking at, you have a specific health goal, you want to lose 50 pounds within the next, 6 months, then you got to have a strategy. That don't mean just working out, right? That means that you got to have a strategy to work out. You got to have a strategy to, for your nutrition. You got to have a strategy for the supplements that you're going to take. What are you going to eat? When are you going to eat it? How big are your portions going to be once you decide to eat it? So like that's a strategy. So every activity, everything you do should bring you closer to that. So I want you to think about this project sort of like think about it like a train ride. In New York City, have you ever been to New York, right? Or, any major metropolitan area, you know that there's local and that there's express stops, right? So I'm from the Bronx, and I know, certain times when I go, back to New York, that, there's certain trains that you can take that's going to take you, local stops or take you express stops. But if I get on a train that goes express stops, there's certain stops that it has to stop at in order to get to my destination, right? In order to get to the stop that I'm my desired stop. So I want you to think about it like that, because I want you to know that throughout your day, when you're looking at creating and setting daily goals, no matter what happens throughout that day, I want you to stop and complete those priorities that you set for yourself. So typically you want to have about 3 priorities, right? Minimum. If you can do more, you could do, you can set 5 important things that's critical that day. It could be 6, it could be 7, but the recommendation that I've been seeing is that if you at least do 3 major priorities, you complete those 3, then you're gonna find yourself being more successful, because you're completing them 3 things that's gonna bring you closer towards those milestones that we talked about, right? And then as you start completing and knocking those milestones off, then you're getting closer to the overall goal. So that's what we're looking at. So I want you to think about it like a train stop. You got express stops, you got local stops, but those stops that you have to do are the most important. All right. So in order to actually complete those priorities, those necessary stops, then you got to have a plan, right? You got to have a plan to do that. So that's what we're going to talk about when we look at our daily impact planner. And just in case you don't believe me about this stuff, I want you to take a good word out of my old friend Jim Rohn's book. He said, you cannot change your destination overnight, but you could change your direction overnight. So just because you decide that you want to accomplish certain goals or certain dreams within a day, as long as you are going in the right direction, you're fine. Because you might set 3 priorities that day, right? But you might not necessarily complete all 3 priorities. Like I might say, all right, well, today I want to write 10 pages of this book. Well, you only might write 5 pages. I only might get to 5 pages. So, I mean, I didn't complete the goal that I wanted to do that day, but at least I made progress. And then maybe the next day I can complete the other 5, right? Or maybe later that night, or whatever the case is, right? Or whatever the case. So it's important that although you didn't reach your destination, just know that, all right, well, at least I'm taking steps in the right direction. So that's what Jim Rohn was really saying. Like, you could change, you're still making progress. It might not be the amount, or it might not be as fast as you wanted it to be, but you're still moving forward in that direction, which is ultra good. All right, so now we are going to get to the impact planner, and this is my daily impact planner, that you'll also get a copy of, because this is a part of the course, so you'll be able to print this out and you'll be able to use this on a daily basis. Okay, so this is important for you to do. So what I've noticed is that super successful people, everybody who has anybody who's sort of at the top of their field, what I've noticed that is that they have some type of a framework or something that they work through in order to accomplish the things. They sort of know their projects that they want to accomplish. If it's anybody they need to talk to or reach out to, they sort of know that. They know the things that's gonna distract them or throw them off. They know what's the most critical, important things that they need to do. Okay, well, I need to do the photo shoot, or I need to be here so we can complete this scene of the movie, or I need to make sure, as an entrepreneur, that I meet with this business owner so we can close and finalize this deal. Like, they know what their top priorities are, and then you got to be able to anticipate what could go wrong. And there's a difference, even if you're looking at this and saying, okay, well, I see you have top distractions, and then I see you have anticipated adversity. So what's the difference? And I'm gonna let you know exactly what that is. Just quickly, when you're looking at distractions, you're looking at, okay, well, what are the distractions that I usually tend to get caught up with? So that can mean Instagramming or Facebooking, and you're supposed to be completing this task. It could be your thoughts are, you just start thinking about random stuff while you're supposed to be working. It could be, you notice that every time that your phone rings or a notification goes off or it dings, or whatever the case is, you stop whatever you're doing and you go look at it, you go read it. So those are, okay, what are the top distractions that I do? So I'm gonna show you how I work through that, because I'm gonna go through each one of these sections and show you how I do that. All right. And anticipated adversity is just, okay, well, what's something that could stop me from progress today? What's something that like for me, for anticipated adversity, and I'll just give you quickly and I'll go over it longer, but it can be, okay, well, I know that when I have a health goal, and I know that, I know that I'm not supposed to be eating any kind of candy or sweets, right? Because I don't want that to mess up my health goal. But I'm anticipating that today is going to be the day where we have like an office party, right? So these are things already. Well, it's going to be an office party. Well, if it's an office party, it's probably going to be candy, sweets, cake, whatever the case is. So you anticipating what's going to happen, and then how do I protect myself from that? So that's what we're looking at. Now, starting off from the top, this is the daily impact planner. This is what you're going to use. You're going to print this out every day. Typically, what you can do is you can just one, you want to get it like a notebook, a binder notebook, and if you could print this out at home, or if you do it at work, just be careful. I'm not recommending it, but print it out how you got to print it out. Go to your local campus, go to Staples, whatever you got to do. but print this out and print 30 of these out in a month. So a good thing to do is, whenever you print out 30 copies. Put the staples in it, put it in a binder notebook. Put it in one of those 3-ring binder notebooks. And every morning, I want you to go through this, take some time out. If you could take 10, 15, 20 minutes out. If you got to wake up 20 minutes earlier to do this because this is going to be the most important thing that you do all day, because now you know what you're working towards, right? You know what to do. So you're going to put down what are your projects that you want to complete for the day, and then we're going to have your 5 major milestones. Now, like I said, it might be more, it may be less, but 5 is typically like a good number. So what are the 5 major milestones? So, if it's a book, what are the 5 things you need to do right now if you're working on it? If you're an entrepreneur, or if you own a business, and you want to make, I don't know, you want to make an extra $5,000 a month. Okay, well, obviously you did all your research already. And for the people who made the most money doing as an entrepreneur, in a similar business, what are the like 5 things that they seem like they were doing? That's what you're gonna list down, right? If it's a health goal, you want to lose weight, you want to, gain muscle, whatever the case is. Okay, what are like the 5 biggest things that helped me, help that person move there? Okay, well, it looked like, they looked like they had a routine, a certain workout routine. They worked out, these days, or it looked like they ate these certain things, nutrition, whatever the case is. So you have to put down the main things, and then do that. If you have 3 projects, 2, 1, whatever the case is, put that down. Then you're gonna go to the reach out column. Okay, who do I need to reach out to in order to help push these projects forward? Who do I need to talk to? You might need to talk to a personal trainer. You might need to talk to, somebody that's in your business. You might need to talk, that's in your field. You might need to, talk to a friend. You might need to, talk to, a speaker or a coach or whatever the case is. But it's likely you got to reach out to somebody. So how are you going to do that? So for me, one of my projects at one point in time was, okay, well, I want to make sure that I'm getting out and I'm speaking to these 10 colleges that's in the area, right? So one of the things that I got to reach out to is I got to reach out to the schools. I got to reach out to the admins, or I got to reach out to the community development person. So that's what you have to do, and it's preferably write down the name so you know exactly who you're reaching out to. All right, so do that. So that's reach out to, and then the next column is the waiting for column. So after you reach out to somebody, and remember, you're doing this every morning. So once you look at it the next morning, you might say, okay, well, I reached out to these 5 people, and none of them didn't get back to me yet. That's when for the next morning, you would go, okay, well, let me put them back in the reach out column, because you had a blank slate now, right? So you put them back in the reach out column, you reach out to them, unless they specifically said, okay, I'll get back to you in a few days or a week, whatever the case is. All right, so that's the waiting for. Who are you waiting for a response for? Because once you get that response, that'll allow you to continue moving forward. Okay, so that's that. And then what are your top distractions for your day? What they call the Achilles heel? What are the things that that's like your vices, like things that's just they holding you back? Like for me, it's definitely, sometimes I gotta remind myself that I can't just be going on Instagram anytime my monkey brain say, "Oh, I want something new," or "I'm bored," or whatever the case is, because that's derailing my progress. If you ever notice, anybody, especially, or like anytime my phone rings, because it's hard to stop a ringing phone, right? Or somebody text message you and you hear a notification come through, like it's hard to stop that. For some people, and especially if you have things that you need to focus on and you need to do, and you always just stopping and you being distracted and you got to pick up the phone or whatever the case is, then one, you're not going to have that same level of focus once you get back into your activity, because every time that you get distracted, it takes about 24 minutes in order for you to get back into the flow state in order to do your best at the project that you're doing. So you got to know what your top distractions are for the day, and so keep in mind, you got to be self-aware as you're going throughout the day. And then once you're self-aware about it, keep an idea. Okay, these things seem to like distract me today, where I didn't accomplish my priorities. So then that means that when you're filling this out for a new day, put those things down from the previous day. All right, and then you have today's top three priorities. What are the most three important things I need to accomplish today? No matter what happens, if I don't do anything else today, I'm gonna do these three things. And you do these things before you go to sleep every day. You work your hardest to do these top three things, unless something burns or gets on fire, whatever the case is. But these are the three things that you do every day. And I had, personally, I had, people who were very, very successful tell me this, like, you have to do these things every day, like, no matter what. If you don't do anything, make sure you do these things. So you got to have those top three priorities for yourself, okay? And those top three priorities, this is what the specific tasks are that you're going to have under your milestones and under your projects. All right, so these are typically going to be what you're going to complete. Now, don't get it twisted. When we're looking at projects, and although we have a 1 through 5, it don't have to be 1 through 5. You don't. It might be sometimes you might not be able to work on. You might not be able to work on something for number 1 today, or whatever the case is. But then you might be able to work on something for number 5 or number 4. So don't think that it has to be sequential. A lot of these can work at the same time, side by side. Like for me, I got my master's degree in project management, and one of the charts that you're required to use in order to manage projects is a Gantt chart. And what a Gantt chart is just basically it lists out all the tasks that you have to do, and from what days and from what times. And sometimes those times and days they overlap. So I might have project task number 1 that I got to do from 11 to 3, but then task number 2 might be from like 2 to 7, right? So that overlaps, but it's okay that it overlaps, because you have leverage or certain things that you can certain things that you can do at certain times, certain things that you might have to wait, you might be waiting on something or whatever the case is, right? So it's okay that if it overlaps, as long as you're managing that well. So at the end of the day, today's top, though, you got to make sure you're doing those top three priorities. All right, and then anticipated adversity. This is like the example that I gave you earlier. You gotta know what is possible that's gonna throw you off today. You gotta know. Like I said, at my job, I know sometimes they're gonna bring in. This is one guy who always brings in. He said that him and his wife always cooks like older couple. He said my wife loves to bake. She's always baking something all the time. So I've came into the office and seen cheesecake, blueberry cheesecake, muffins, brownies, bagels with cream cheese. I'm like, and this happens. I know it's guaranteed going to happen at least once a week. Like him and his wife is going to cook something, and she'll cook too much, and he'll end up bringing it to work, and he'll leave it in the kitchen. And and it could be hard to not do that. It could be hard. I try to even avoid the kitchen if I can, because I know that if I'm seeing it, it's gonna make it harder for me to say no and resist it. And then also I know that it's draining my willpower. Even if I don't go over there and grab a piece, it's draining my willpower, and then now I'm gonna have less focus throughout the day, especially when it gets towards the end of the day. So, but you got to know what is possible, what can possibly throw you off throughout the day. And a extra bonus is it could also be your attitude. That's a bonus. So don't discount it and think it always has to be somebody else or something external that can throw you off. It could be your attitude about something that could throw you off that day. It could be your attitude that you got to make these sales calls and call on prospects, call on people, right? It could be your attitude about it that could throw you off, because if you got a messed up or stink attitude about something that you got to do, it's going to make you not want to do it. You're not going to do your best at it, and you probably won't even do it. And then if you do it, it's probably going to take you 30 to 40 minutes to get started, and you're not going to get them the best amount of time or leverage out of it. So be mindful that it could also be your attitude. All right. So this is the daily impact planner. Like I said, I'm going to give you a copy of this. This is going to be a part of this module. All you got to do is click on it. Make sure that you Make sure that you print this out, and it's something special that happens when you print it out and you write instead of typing it. Because I know you can just sort of mimic it and probably do it maybe in Evernote or something like that and type it up. Which you could do that, but if you really want to get the best value out of it, you got to write this stuff out every day. Write it out, and this is nothing that I'm making up. There's proven studies that say when you take notes, handwritten notes, as opposed to typing it out, you retain more of it. So this is nothing that I'm making up. So make sure that you print this out, you write it, you follow this every day like a religion, and you're gonna notice that right now, like you're gonna notice that from this point on, measure yourself a month from now, 90 days from now, 6 months from now, and look how much more things you're gonna accomplish doing using this plan, using this as opposed to up until this point, the amount of progress that you made. Okay, so that's where we're at for today. So you're gonna have access to this daily impact plan, and make sure you go through this. Of course, if you have any questions, I'm gonna be in the community answering questions and helping you work through this as well. All right, so that's what we have for the daily impact planner. In the next video, we're going to talk about the pockets effect and how you can utilize your spare time efficiently, so you're not just bleeding for time. You know what they say. You know, small holes sink the ship. So you got to make sure that you're using this extra time efficiently, right? So that's what we're going to talk about in the next video. All right. All right. So this is your break. I know that last one was kind of long, but I wanted to spend a couple extra minutes on that because it's very important to use that. The impact planner, like I said, it wasn't this planner is a composite of a few different things that I've researched, a few different things that I've learned from from people who are the world's best coaches and coaching Oprah's and Fortune 500 companies and all of that type of stuff. Like, so I know for a fact if you follow this daily impact planner, that is going to make a profound difference in your life. And I use it. I use it myself. So I, just like what I recommended, I print it out and I write it. And at first, it's gonna seem like a long time trying to do that every day, but after a while, maybe after a few days or a week or two, you're gonna start noticing it's gonna be faster. And then now you know what you're doing. So but if there's any other questions, feel free to ask them now on it. And I'm here to answer some questions. And I know we just hit the 1 hour mark, and I think we have about maybe 1 or 2 more sections left. Yeah, we have 2 more sections left, so I'm gonna try to make these a little bit quicker because the impact planner, this was definitely one of the biggest, heaviest topics. So there's no questions. I'm just gonna keep on moving. So you good, Tasana? You can hear me. You can see me. All right.
Yeah, I'm okay.
Okay. All right. All right. So and whoever else is here, phone on mute, all of that good stuff. Okay. All right. So we're gonna keep it pushing. Okay. Let's see. All right, so in this video, we're talking about the pockets effect, how to utilize your spare time efficiently. Most people have a lot of spare time throughout the day that they don't even realize or recognize, but how do you use this time effectively and efficiently? Most people just grab the phone, take it out, just look into the stars, whatever the case is, not really paying attention, but these little times where you have a few extra minutes here, a few extra 5 minutes there, 10 minutes there, these could be little pieces of time throughout your day that you can make progress even faster throughout your day. So how do you do that? What's a good way to do that? I remember one of one of the guys that that's just very successful, and he's huge in the social media on social media right now, and his name is Gary V, right? Gary Vaynerchuk. And I remember watching one of his episodes, and what he said was it was one time where he had jury duty. He had to go to jury duty, and they let him out to do a 15-minute break. In this 15-minute break, he came out and he recorded a whole episode of Gary V of Ask Gary V. Had people call in, ask questions, had his boy D Rock there and everything, right? So he was able to knock out an episode from 15 minutes. So that's what I'm talking about. How do you utilize that spare time efficiently instead of just twiddling your thumbs and just wasting time? So that is what we're going to be talking about in this video. All right, so that was just sort of like the intro video. All right, so I'm sure there's no questions on that. So let's move on. Okay, actually, I'm editing this part out anyway, so, but I actually want to make this change real quick. Okay. All right. Oops. Okay. All right. So in this video, this is the pockets effect, and this is where we're going to really talk about how do you utilize your spare time efficiently. So I want to go ahead and just jump in so you can get a great idea of what do you need to do in order to use your time efficiently. All right, so one, you want to make sure that when you get these windows of time that you're doing something that's productive. If possible, if you can, try to do, it could be anything productive physically. That don't necessarily always mean that you have to, you gotta, get on your phone and make a phone call or whatever the case is, but just something that's going to help you physically. So what that means, what that could mean is that could mean that you stretch. It's good to stretch every day. Make sure maybe it means that you're doing some kind of breathing exercise or whatever the case is. So just to give you a few ideas. So that means you're in line, right? Let's say if you're standing in line, maybe you can stretch. Maybe if it's an important phone call that you need to make, you can make that an important phone call. I try not to recommend you jumping on your phone too much because there's so many distractions, and it's just your phone is just an open portal to people just following you, people just hitting you up. So it could be a lot of it would be a lot of distractions. But if you're on the toilet, if you're waiting for an activity to begin, these are just places where you can find time to be more productive. And just move forward on your priorities if you can, or at least just get yourself in a good mental headspace, right? And what I want you to think about is I want you to think about the opportunity cost. What is the opportunity cost that is costing you for not being productive? Think about that during that 5, 10, or 15 minutes, right? Like I gave you an example earlier for Gary Vee. Like what can how can you utilize that time efficiently? Because if you don't know what opportunity cost is the fact that you're doing one thing, you could be doing something else in that moment. Now, if you decide that you want to go on Facebook and like people's statuses, and I'm not telling you when you should go on Facebook, when you should not go on Instagram, social media, whatever, it's up to you. But what I'm saying is that just understand that once you learn something, you can never unlearn it. So you're learning this right now. Once you're spending your time doing something at this moment in time, you could be spending it on something else that has higher value with the same amount of time. So this time that you are on social media, or the time that you are in line and you think, it's nothing, let me just go on and like a status or do this, that, and the third. That 10, 15 minutes you was doing that while you was waiting in line at a fast food restaurant or something, that could have been time that you used to make a phone call that you needed to make. That could be time that could be free time that you can use to just connect with your boyfriend or your girlfriend, your wife or your husband. That could just, if you out with them and that is what's important at that time, that's the reason why you're out together on a date. Use that time to, maybe make them laugh. Use that time to, share a moment, something special. Think about what the opportunity cost is. Everybody walking around with their head down in their phone, and that's an opportunity cost. So you gotta be mindful of that. Okay. Now, to help you out, these are some things that you can do. One, I want you to think about the results you want in this or the next activity and ways to make it happen. So let's say if you have some time, you stand in a line, or you waiting for some activity to begin, you waiting for the meeting to begin, or whatever the case is. Think about the results you want in this or the next activity. So if you're in a meeting and the meeting is getting ready to start, think about, okay, well, what do I really want to get out of this meeting? What do I want to learn? What is the objective of this meeting? Try to find ways to to make the meeting better, more informative. Like for me, I went to a crime prevention seminar where they had attorney generals, chief deputy, officers of different police districts. They had just different administration from the White House there. And my goal, as we were waiting for them to come and for the event to start, right, and people to finish walking in and getting their food, I had a good 15 to 20 minutes. And I could have easily just went on Instagram or Facebook, or I could have Snapchatted real quick, or whatever the case is. But what I decided to do was think about, what do I want to get out of this event outside of just crime prevention and learning, which was good. But I said, you know what? It'd be great if I can meet some of the people that's going to be on the panel, and be able to talk to them, network with them, and probably provide them some value at some future point in time. But that never would have happened. I would have never, and I thought about, okay, what can I do? What could I say? What kind of value could I offer them? When should I go over there and talk to them? Um, you know, what line should I say? What should I tell? So it was, but I would have never thought about that had I used that opportunity for something else that wasn't as high of a value. So you have to think about those things if you really want to get ahead. And then number two, move your priorities an inch forward if you can. But be careful not to fall into the matrix. And the matrix is, the matrix of the world: email, text messages, social media platforms. You got to be careful not to fall too deep in it, because we know that as humans, and this happens to all of us, it's not just you, it's not just me, even the world's most successful people. If you are if you go on your phone, you could go on your phone to do one thing, but then you will fall into rabbit holes of different things. Oh, let me check this. Let me see what's going on. Let me see what's going on here. Or you could have been in your email to reply to somebody who sent you an email. That could be important, but then you find yourself scrolling and reading the rest of the emails. Or you could say, well, well, I use social media for my business, so I was on there, and I had to reach out to somebody for my business for social media. But then maybe you decide, well, let me do some scrolling first. Let me scroll and see, who sent me this message. Let me see, who posted this. So we could fall into the matrix. So make sure that, you're actually moving your priorities forward, even if it's small, but don't get caught up in that. And then energize yourself. That means stretch, do your belly breathing, do some meditation if you can. That's what we talked about earlier. Belly breathing is when you breathe through your nose. Let's say you breathe in slowly, 4 seconds, breathe out 8 seconds, and make sure that you're expanding your stomach. All that chest business is not really the right way to breathe. So you want to breathe where everything is at, your organs and different things, all right, which is in your stomach. So that's how you want to breathe, energize yourself. And then if you can, if you're standing in line, if you're sitting somewhere, just meditate, relax, just clear your mind. What's good is there's plenty of benefits on meditation. You can read or watch videos on it. But there's plenty of things that you could do that'll help you for meditation. If you want to be more present and self-aware, meditation is a good tool for that. And then don't use your phone. As I said earlier, if it's possible at all for you not to use your phone, just try not to do it, because it's so easy to fall into the matrix. But if you feel like you get some work done and you feel like you have to use your phone to do that, just be very careful. Get in and get out, and resist the urge to go and scroll through it. That's why I said, like I said in the earlier video, it's much easier to avoid temptation than to resist it. So that's why I don't really want you using your phone if possible, because you're resisting it. You might have a message or phone call to come through, and then you resisting it is draining your willpower, even not answering it or looking at it. All right, so that is the pockets effect. So use this efficiently and use this wisely. In the next video, we're going to talk about the pyramid of persuasion and how do you get to people to support your dreams, your goals, and your ambitions. Awesome.
Hello, hello.
Hey, what's going on? Uh,
Yeah, I couldn't make the training. I'm moving, so I have to pack a lot of boxes.
you moving into a new house, new apartment?
Yeah, new apartment on Tuesday.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. Well, all right. So don't worry about it. The replay is gonna be available. So, you can go ahead and finish doing your moving, and you got the information to log back on.
Yep. All right.
All right,
Cool.
man. Catch you soon.
All
Bye.
right. Have a great day.
Yeah, you too. Take care.
Bye.
All right. All right. Tashana, are you back on? Let me see. Are you? All right. Let me see who's back on. Because I know you dropped out for a bit, but this is the break session now, so don't worry about it. Let's see. All right, can you hear me? Let me know if you can hear me. Let me know if you can see my screen. You can put it in the chat or whatever the case is. Okay. This is the last section, so if you want to hear, just give me a shout out. Let me know that you can see me. Let me know that you can hear me. All right. All right, let's do it. All right. All right, so this is the last video of the week, and this is the pyramid of persuasion. How do you convince and persuade people to support your dream, support your goal, your project? This could be at work. This can be as an entrepreneur. It could be peers that's in your industry. This could be influencers. This can be, this can be having a friend support your health goals so they can work out with you or keep you accountable, right? So this is sort of a general framework. This is a framework that's geared towards, at least having you think about some of the right things that you need to do and things that you need to think about in order to persuade people. These, by any means, I'm not saying this is the only things that you will ever need to do, but when it comes to you being able to, get people on your side and persuade you to support the things that are important to you, these are the things that you need to be thinking through, things that you need to look at when it comes to getting that support that you need. Okay. So this is the pyramid of persuasion. There's five things that you need to know, five things you need to look at when it comes to this pyramid. All right, and this is what it is. So I'm gonna walk through each one of them. All right, and these are not necessarily in any kind of order, but maybe sort of. So let's look at.
Hi.
All right, hold on.
Are you starting the course?
Give me a moment. Yeah, so the course, so actually, we're getting ready to finish. So this
Okay.
is
Okay.
so this is the last it's the last module.
Oh. Okay. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, this is the last module. We had how many we had, Tashana? Probably maybe four, maybe like five, maybe five modules already. So this is the last one.
All right. All right.
All right, so we're gonna go ahead and run through this one. All right, so yeah, you can go ahead and just put your phone on mute so it doesn't come through on the screen
Yep.
here. All right. All right, so we're back, and this is the last module of the week for Unbreakable Personal Productivity, and we're going to talk about the pyramid of persuasion, which is specifically just talking about how do you persuade others to support your dream, your goals, your projects, whatever you need to accomplish, right? You want to get to a certain point, you want to achieve something, but how do you get other people to assist you in that dream? You can be an entrepreneur, and you're trying to get influence, you're trying to persuade an influencer to support your dream or goal, or you could try to get somebody that's in your peer network to support you. You could be, in school, how do you get other students or teachers or staff to support you? You could be, you can have some type of health goal. How do you get friends to support you and keep you accountable and go to the gym with you, right? So this is a general framework that you can use, and some of the things that you really need to think about in order to get other people to support you. Now, by any means, I'm not saying this is the only things that you would ever need to do, but these are some of the most important things that you need to have when it comes to you, and that you need to be thinking about when it comes to you persuading others to support you. These are the critical elements. So if you don't do anything else, make sure you at least doing these things in order to persuade others to support your dream and your goal, because as we know and as we talked about, it's important that you get others support if you want to move faster, to get to the promised land, so to speak, right? So that's what we're talking about today. Now, this is the pyramid of persuasion. Yes, this is me. This is what I've developed, and this is what I've put together for what I've really noticed that some of the world's most persuasive people, these are some of the things that they're doing in order to convince people, in order to persuade people. So these are some of the things that you can do, even if you're really trying to persuade people to, to support you, to support a goal. Like, let's say if you have fans or followers, these are some of the things that you can do also to get them to support you as well. Like I said, these might not all be necessarily the entire thing that you need, but you at least need these things in order to persuade other people to support your goal, your project, whatever it is. Okay, and these are the things that I've learned from the world's best. So these are not necessarily in any particular order, but they kind of are. Because these, as far as as far as the chunk of it, of the amount of things that you should be doing and working, as far as it goes, as far as it going up to the top. Okay, so one, when we're talking about getting clear on outcomes, I want you to think about what do I want this person that I want to persuade, what I want them to think, feel, and do. Why is that important? Because one, many people think, okay, well, if I want to persuade this person to do something, it's just about having them do what I want them to do. But really, it's not. It's really more. It's really a little bit more than that. I want us to be a little bit more thoughtful when it comes to persuading people, and not just thinking about it's just this one thing right now that we need to do. Think about it. Okay, what I want them to think, right? I want them to, for example, I want them to, think about, I want them to think that helping me, is a good thing. I want them to think that, that if they help support, let's say if it's a friend, let's say if it's a weight loss goal or whatever the case is, right? Well, I want them to think that, that this is important to me. I want them to feel like they're really doing a good thing in the world. I want them to feel like they're really being helpful because they support me in keeping me accountable every week, or support me in and going to the gym with me. I want them to feel good about that. And what I actually want them to do, I actually want them to go to the gym with me. I actually want them to call me and say, "Hey, what's going on? I see that you just posted that cheesecake on Instagram. This is not what you said. This is not the person that you said you wanted to be, right?" So that's what I'm talking about. I'm saying get clear on your outcomes. What do you want them to do for you? How do you want them to think about it? How do you want them to feel? So that's important that you start off with that first. Then once you clear on that part of it, because remember, once you having conversations with them, you're gonna say certain things differently. You're gonna come across differently, right? If I'm clear on how I want somebody to feel, that might be a different conversation if I'm not thinking about that, right? So you might say things differently. So that's why getting clear on that is important. Then when you're looking at providing value, I want you to provide value first. If and I'm bringing it back to my guy Gary Vaynerchuk. He talks about providing value first, and a lot of the gurus and the people that we most look up to and admire, and the people that a lot of us want to have those type of success and results. They provide value first. So that means that if you want to get somebody to support you, it's probably good that you provide them value. So if you work in a 9 to 5 job and you got other team members, it's probably good if you have provided them some type of value in the past, right? Maybe you helped them out with a project of their own in the past, or maybe if you haven't, or maybe if you just meeting them, well, you provide them some type of value first. Maybe you give them, let's say, if you are, if you're a copywriter and you're trying to get somebody to, you're trying to you're trying to write copy for a company, for an individual, whatever the case is. Well, if you're trying to persuade them to help, support your goals and your missions, or whatever the case is, it's probably good that you provide them maybe like a few tips first, or maybe it's good that if you just help the other person first, because once you give, there's a natural law of reciprocity that happens, and people want to give to you back. Like, it's sort of like if you think about Christmas, right? For example, has there ever been a time where somebody for Christmas gave you a present and you felt like you had to give them a present back? Like, you felt like you just completely had to do it because you just felt bad that if you didn't give them something. I remember one time there's a Christmas, and me and my girl got a gift from one of my fraternity brothers, and he gave us like just like some DVDs, but he knew that we like Denzel Washington, right? So he got us a bunch of just Denzel DVDs, and we didn't even think, he wasn't even on our radar for getting him anything for Christmas, right? But as soon as he gave that to us, it was wrapped up nice in the wrapping paper and everything. We was like, oh, we gotta get him something. And mind you, this is probably like a day or two before Christmas. And we like, yo, we gotta go out and find him something. So we out scrambling, running around, trying to find something to get him. All right, what he like, what he want, and he wasn't even on our radar at first. So so the fact that he provided us value, it made us want to reciprocate that. So how can you use that for whoever you want to persuade? Provide them value first, and then they're going to be more willing and open to help you. The persuasion process is going to be easier. Then, if you could get their feedback, that'd be even better. Get their feedback on whatever you're doing, whatever project, anything that you're working on, because as my good friend Brendan Burchard says, he says that people support what they create. And if you ever think about that, anytime somebody has a say in something, anytime somebody has a hand in doing something, they're more likely to support it. So if you can get their feedback on something that you're doing, if it's a friend, let's talk about the weight loss goal again. If you're talking to her or you talking to him, and they're providing you feedback and helping you, it's more likely that they're gonna want to help you because they've already been helping you with advice. Like if I'm talking to a friend, I'm saying, hey, I'm really trying to stay focused because I have my own business, and it's hard for me every day to work on my business without getting distracted. Or I'm trying to make progress on my business, but each and every week I'm not hitting my goals. Well, if you have a friend that's offering you advice, right, and you say, hey, maybe what should I do? You have a couple tips or something I could do, as they help you with advice, right? Then you could say, you know what, would you mind, maybe at the end of that conversation, you'd be like, you know what, well, I appreciate the feedback. Would you mind maybe every Monday or maybe every Sunday we get on a call together and we just talk for a couple minutes, and you just sort of just check in with me just to, sort of hold me accountable? Boom. Now you just got yourself an accountability partner, right? Just persuaded them to be an accountability partner. But the reason they was willing to help you is because they gave you feedback. People support what they create. So they supported you because they helped create a plane for you to win. All right. And then also, if you could offer some type of benefit for helping you, then that'd be even great. Now, that's different than providing value first. Providing value first is you're giving them the value ahead of time. The benefit is, okay, what are you giving them afterwards for helping you? Right. So that's sort of what the benefit is. So if you're looking at persuading somebody, and you want them to help you in a project, whatever the case is, you might say, well, well, for doing this, I'll hit you up with a couple dollars. I'll give you this. So you know what, just for doing that, I'll shout you out on my social media, on my Instagram page. Just for that, I'm gonna write an article. Just for that, I'm gonna write this copy for you. Just for that, I'm gonna give you a few pieces of jewelry. Just for that, I'm gonna give you a free coaching session. Just for that, I'm gonna buy you this water bottle. I'm gonna do whatever the case is, right? Take you on this trip. So it's important that you offer some type of benefit as well, because it just makes it easier for them to do it. When somebody know that they're gonna get something, then it helps them out. That's the reason. That's a lot of the reasons why. If you ever join like a webinar, let's say if you're an entrepreneur, you join the webinar. That's the reason why many entrepreneurs who are doing webinars, they give away something free on the webinar. They say, hey, well, if you stay to the end, I'll give you this free course, you get this free book, whatever the case is, right? This free ebook. Well, the reason why they do that is because they know if they offer you something, you're gonna stay until the end. Most people, they want to get something. So if you offer them a benefit, they're gonna stay to the end. So that's important too, right? So try to offer them some benefit. And then also, when it comes to persuading people, it's good to have the people that's around them be persuaded as well. So there's a social aspect to it as well. So if you know somebody personally that you're trying to persuade, you might know the people that's around them, and if you can convince them, then it's easier for them to be convinced because you convince the social circle that's around them. Do you get what I'm saying? So always try to look at, okay, well, who else? I want to support this person. I want this person to support me, but who else around them can support me? Think about if you're trying to get an influencer to support you, right? No matter what it is. Like let's say if it's all right, let's say Ty Lopez, whatever, for example, right? If you want to persuade Ty Lopez to interview you, if you want to persuade Ty Lopez for anything, right? Well, a good thing to do would be to get the people that's associated with him around them to support you in something, right? So it might be, Raymond Duke is his copywriter. You might want to, maybe a few of the guys that's in his program. You can get them to support you, and maybe they'll see you doing something. And then once you have like this collective people around them who supporting you, saying, "Hey, this is a good guy," And once you got that, then it'd be easier to get that one person to do it. If you have kids, or if you have children, and you got the people, you got the kids around them is convinced that something is great, and you convince all of their friends, then they're gonna be more willing to do it. So a social aspect is very powerful. If you're trying to call on a prospect and you're trying to convince this guy or this lady to buy your merchandise, to join your course, to do whatever, to basically, if you want to basically sell them into your services, it's good that if you can convince their wife, their husband, their kids, it's good if you can convince them as well. So these are very powerful things that I've learned, and you want to put these into play when it comes to persuading people to support your projects, your goals, and everything that you want in that future as your ideal self. If you want to get there faster than you ever imagined, then you're gonna have to get the support of people. And if you want to get the support of people, you got to start doing these things, this pyramid of persuasion, in order to get there faster, so more people can support you. All right, so that's the pyramid of persuasion. Don't mind that I spelled pyramid wrong. Okay, so you're just not gonna look at that part of it, but just understand. But you get what I'm saying when I'm talking about this pyramid, right? So that's this. If you have any questions, I'm going to be in the community answering questions, and you'll be able to, get any of your questions answered as well, right? So until I see you in next week, continue to go out there, grind, sit down, and take the time to do the work that is necessary in order to implement these in your life. Remember, passive listening is good, but you need to study it, figure out how can I implement this in whoever I'm trying to persuade, and then also ultimately go out, practice it, come back to it, maybe look at your journal at the end of the day, maybe look at your journal at the end of the week and say, okay, how can I do this better? All right, that's it. So I know that was a little bit longer than I anticipated as well, but hopefully, you all found that you all found this very powerful, and you can see how doing some of these things would really make a difference in your life. So that's it. That's it for week 4. We coming up into week 5, which is actually the last and final week of the program. After that, you receive some bonuses as well for actually before I jump into it. Is there any questions on the pyramid of persuasion? Do you guys was it pretty straightforward? Okay. So after this is going to be the last week of the course. There's some bonuses. Yeah, thank you, Antoine. I appreciate that. Um, After this, there's some bonuses that you all got too. So since you all are sort of like the first people that's going through this course, I wanted to do something very special. So what I'm doing is I'm gonna add an additional 5 group calls that we'll do. So maybe it'll be something like you could dial in or call in or whatever from your phone, and then we'll do some group calls, and you can ask any questions, and I'll answer and talk to you. I'll talk you through your questions like as we're on a call. Maybe I'll teach something, and then if you have any questions, then we can do that. Also, too, shout out to you, Tashana, because I've been looking at your Instagram page, and you've been doing very well. Adding other things on your page, as well. Showing your family, doing quotes. So I'm glad you decided to take that advice. And are you noticing that your engagement is increasing and more people are liking your pictures and stuff? Good, good, good. I'm glad. I'm glad that seems to be working out for you. Um, so yeah, so that's what we have. That's what we have coming up. So, we have that. You're also gonna get a personal free coaching session as well. So these are coaching sessions that when I go out, I charge $5,000, just to go speak at a college or a university, for an hour, But since you all are taking this journey with me, every person that's going through this course, I'm gonna talk to you for free for a session, and if you wanna ask me, specific questions, maybe that you don't want to ask on a group call, you can ask me ask it to me, and then I'll talk to you personally through your situation. Um, Let me see. Then also, you're also everybody that's going through this as well is also going to get into my when I start up my monthly. I'm gonna start up a monthly session, and you're gonna get into this monthly session for life for free, just for taking the time out to show up on these calls, be active, be engaged, ask questions. So as I do that, I don't know how much I'm gonna charge for that yet. It's probably gonna be sometime next year, but whatever I do, whatever I charge for that, you'll get access to that for free. So don't worry about it. You'll be in there, and you can learn on a continual basis to be more productive. And then also what I'm gonna do is, and I'm gonna give you guys a lot of bonuses for being here. What I'm also gonna do is I'm also creating some t-shirts. I'm gonna create a shirt, and I'm still working through the design and what I wanted to say. But at the end of the sessions and at the end of the calls and everything, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna send everybody a free shirt, and it's gonna have maybe like something motivational on it. That's dealing with productivity. But it's just my way of saying thank you for taking the time out, and taking your life seriously. And for just for being on. But there's a caveat to it. The caveat to it, if you want to get the shirt, is you got to provide a testimonial. So that's why it's important that you start using these things, because when it's all said and done, I want to get some testimonials, like some video testimonials from you, and just say what you've used, what you found out is valuable, and if you got any results from it, do that, and then I'm gonna go ahead and ship you out the shirts. So yeah, so that's what we have so far. So the next week is the last week, which is overcoming obstacles, and so look out for your email with that, and just jump on a call next week, next Sunday, same time, same place, and we'll learn in this last week on how to overcome some obstacles. All right. All right, so that's it. So I'll see you all next week. Keep an eye on your email, and I will talk to you soon. Take care.